Hey everybody, Fefe Fitzgerald, SuperStar Director here, and I'm so excited to share with you guys about reports. Reports have been always around, but the whole trajectory of reports, I feel like, has just kind of changed, if at the very least evolved. And a lot of the stuff I'm going to show you, I think a lot of people have came and so kindly and graciously helped me out along this journey. And I realized the ones that we have pre-saved when we first started with Sensi, and the amount of work that we do to take our consultants from essential to superstar director, there's so much more work that goes on. And so as we were doing things on paper for the last couple of years, we were kind of catching on to a trend with how people are coaching their new consultants and new recruits all the way up to at least director. And so we kind of just put our minds together with other leaders, and I kind of just brainstormed over the past couple of years. What are you doing? What are we doing in common? What are we looking for to get these girls from the time they begin to director? And not just to director, we are looking at people who we can push further than they were the day before. So if you have someone who's putting in 200 PRV every 4 months, it was important to me, because that's 80% of our teams, to get them from 200 every 4 months to saying, hey, what can we do to get you 200 every month? Or if you're putting in 200 every month, what can we do to get this particular consultant from 200 every month to 500 every month? What can we do to watch these people? Not everybody is obvious. As our teams grow and as they're small, not everyone's an obvious person as far as they come in, they're putting in their 500 and they say they want to be a leader. A lot of people don't know. A lot of people don't know that 2,000 PRV a month is a lot. They don't know that coming in and recruiting someone in the first week means that they can promote to lead consultant. They do not know these things unless we tell them. We won't know to tell them unless we keep track. And so especially if your team starts getting growing period, we have to know what to look for. And there's a very small window, I'm finding out now when I'm training new leaders, there's a very small window of which you can do this on pen and paper and do it correctly. So I'm fixing to show you what I mean by that, but there's a very small window, meaning you can have, if you have more than like 5 people on your team, you're having to keep track of people essentially on pen and paper, and how they can be better than the month before. How can they go up from year to year in PRV or recruiting? How can they get from the first of the month to the 30th of the month and reach those goals in between, whether it be they're hobbyists and they just need to get more PRV, or they're wanting to promote to the top of the Sensi compensation plan. You have to know where they are in the beginning of the month. You have to know where they want to end up, and you have to be able to set applicable goals in between. What we can't do with consultants when it comes to training someone to hit goals, we can't wait until the last week of the month to be like, oh, she could probably promote. These are things as a leader. A good leader reacts. This is what I always tell my team. A good leader reacts, meaning we see someone at 8,000 GWV on the 20th, that's probably a telltale sign they could promote to director by the end of the month. A great leader anticipates. Now, what I mean by that, everyone, if you want to put this in layman terms, people that make it to the top of the compensation plan, it's because they are a great leader. Great leaders anticipate. So what does that mean? We start the beginning of the month, identifying and anticipating that this girl who came up 1,000 or so shy from hitting director last month, we anticipate that she can get there this month. This girl right here came up 500 PRV short of a commission bonus. So we're anticipating on the first of the month that she can get to 2,000 this month. And what are we going to do to get there? So if we don't know that, guess what's going to happen? If we don't know that Sally came up a couple thousand short of director last month, how are we going to get her there this month? It's not going to create that excitement of, oh my gosh, you almost got there, or hey, you can get there. There won't be any awareness. There won't be any excitement. Therefore, there won't be any plan going in. There'll be nothing but I'm just going to set some goals and go on about my life. They won't know that unless you tell them. And so we as leaders have to be totally aware. That's one of the things I always say. We have to be totally aware of where we are, where we could be, and how to get there. And if you can identify those three things, you will go far in this business. And so that's why reports have become my best friend. It's actually my number one thing I do now, other than setting goals with my team. It is, I can't really, when it comes to leadership and building leaders, building frontline directors, I was so blessed to have 3 frontline directors last month. And I truly believe it's because over this last year and a half, I have hammered down on how I lead, getting my people to identify where they are, tell me where they want to be, and set goals in between. And that includes beginning to the end of the month. I don't any longer let people just get to the end of the month having zero clue that they could promote. They're knowing that entire month, and that's me. That requires me as a leader to let them know, keep them informed in case they don't know these things themselves. As they go along, they'll figure it out. You may have some of the unicorns that come in from the beginning and they know how to get to SuperStar Director as a certified consultant. Most people don't know. And so we have to keep them informed. So reports that I run, this kind of can sound like Chinese if you've never done reports before. Or saved your own reports, set your own reports. It could sound like Chinese, but I want to kind of give you the general concept. As far as how to save these reports and how to set these reports, that's a whole learning process, and you have to get over that mountain because you just have no other choice to be able to identify your people, like we said earlier, to identify who could make it further than what they did last month, whether it's a hobbyist or someone that wants to promote to SSD. We have to be informed. So therefore, we have to know these reports. I'm interested to see some of the other leaders' reports because I think we all set them different. We set our parameters different, as I'm fixing to show you. We look for certain things, but what we have in common, all of us have in common who do reports consistently, is we know where our people can get by the beginning of the month. We know where they ended last month. We know where they can get. We know what their goals are, and we set stuff in between to help them close that gap. So if my reports vary from another leader's, to each his own, but I'm telling you guys, what we all have in common is that we know where they're at, where they want to be, and we have some goals set in between. How we do that, there's a million different ways to do that, to get them there. But that's what we all have in common, and we all are seeing the success. And even better, we're teaching our leaders to do that. We're coaching the coaches. We're teaching these leaders how to lead, and it's trickling down through our whole organization. And what it's causing is an entire shift of people. So this is what I do. Let's start simple. I do something called the 500 report. That's a report that I run on the 15th to tell me who all has 500 by the 15th. So I can shout them out. I can be a little concerned if you're a director and you don't have 500 by the 15th. That tells you a lot. And the report alone tells you a lot. I also run an active report. So anyone that's active, I can run that active report. I'll break all these down here for you guys in a little bit, but I can run that active report anytime during the month. Just for shout outs, sometimes I do it on the first day just to say, hey, all these people got active today. That's wonderful. People love shout outs. That's another huge reason I do reports, is they love shout outs. They feel appreciated and noticed. And so when you have people getting active on the first day, that's pretty dang awesome. When you have people active at any point of the month, that's awesome. Because there's a lot of your hobbyists that you don't want to forget. Again, they're most of your team. You don't want to forget all of your hobbyists that are getting active. So therefore, I have the active report. I also have another report called the almost active report, and I'll show you guys what I use that for. And then I also have other reports that I run on the beginning, the 15th, and the end of the month. That way I can see who is close to promoting. Depending on what their GWV is on the 15th, I set it to a certain parameter to see, oh, these people are past this GWV on the 15th. Let me contact them and let's see what we can do about getting them the lead or director or wherever. And then I also have end of month reports to see about people who could potentially get paid at title or potentially promote. So let's get started. Screen share. Oops. Okay, so you guys are seeing all my business. This is my performance report. Now, if you look on the left side of the screen, you guys will see there's my 500 report I was telling you guys about. There's the active. Excuse me, there's an almost active, and then you guys will see a whole slew of paid at title / promotion potential. And I'll break the lead consultant one down so you guys can just kind of get an idea of what I mean on these. But I have one for lead, star, superstar, and director. I run all these reports on the 15th. And then I also have the same for end of month. And of course, you guys always got to use that will cancel. We need to know who's going to cancel, right? What I did is I went and created some mock reports because I don't want to put everyone's business out there, but I did want to make sure you guys are thoroughly trained on why we use reports. And again, it is a learning experience as far as what to set your parameters to. But I created some links that would help you guys out. So that's a learning experience. You guys got to figure that out on your own. However, what I do want you guys to walk away with is what kind of reports I do. Doesn't mean you got to do the same ones, but just going to show you. So let's start with this 500 by the 15th. So again, I would come in, I'd click that one. And again, it says mock up here because these are just, I created these without names so you guys don't see anyone's business. But I created a 500 by the 15th. On the 15th of the month, these are the reports I check. I check, for this one in particular, I check who has 500 by the 15th. So you click on it, sort it out, and here is a whole list of people that you can shout out and say, great job, 500 by the 15th. If someone has 500 by the 15th as a leader, if you guys are a new leader, you guys start to pick up these things, these antennas like, hello, I need to talk to that person. This girl may have 500 by the 15th and one recruit. That's somebody I can reach out to and say, hey, you could potentially promote if you had one recruit. I mean, you have one recruit. You could potentially, your PRV is amazing. Let's get that recruit active. And so nonetheless, at the very least, this 500 by the 15th report gives me an idea of who's working their business. If you're getting 500 by the 15th, you are working your business. So that's one, report number one I run on the 15th. I also do an active report because again, on average, 80% of your team are hobbyists. You do not want to be so focused on people that are just trying to climb the ladder, which is a very small percentage of your team, that you forget about everybody else on your team. So you need to find things to shout them out for. So this is the same thing. This is my active report. All I do is click on that and I sort it. And I go on down. This pulls up everybody that's active on my team. And these are people you can shout out. These are people you could say, congratulations, awesome. Here are the active people for day number 1 of the month. I think that's a great shout out to do for me as a leader. I also have, let's move on to the paid at title and promotion. So the reason why I labeled these paid at title and promotions is because, hold on just a second. Okay, sorry. I had to recreate a report, so that was fun. But anyway, so the reason why I do lead and paid at title promotion potential on the 15th, as you can see up here, I do that for all titles, lead all the way through SuperStar director. And so let me show you my parameters so you guys can better understand it. Now the parameter for these paid at title and promotion ones, you guys got to be very open-minded, to each his own. Remember that kind of mindset with these. What I mean by that is everyone sets their parameters different. For me, this is just me. If I see somebody, actually, I meant to set this at 400. So this is the 15th report. If I see somebody who is at 400 GWV on the 15th, so that's almost halfway there. And I kind of set that parameter for all of my titles, about almost halfway there on the GWV, then that's somebody you got to be reaching out to on the 15th, tracking them all month long. And so again, remember, we don't want to notice these people at the end of the month. You want to notice them in the middle of the month. So to you, what does that mean? So for me, I put my lead consultant at 400 GWV. There are some people who want to put a minimum PRV. As you can see, I have quite a few that show up. You may or may not. You may have pages and pages, depending on your team size. You may have 3 people that show up. You may have pages and pages. You do your comfort level. I do know some superstar directors who have teams in the thousands. So this would be 5, 6, 7 pages long. So they do set some stricter parameters for what they look for on the 15th. They want to see that they have at least 500 PRV. They want to see that you already have your 1 active front line. I don't know. You could do whatever tickles your fancy. But I just put on all my title parameters, especially if you're just starting, unless you have, I've got 500 something people right now. Unless you have more than that maybe, or even 200 plus, 100 plus even, I would just set these wide, broad parameters. So here's all these people. Now, what do I do with this? Let me show you right quick. This is a lead paid at title promotion. So anyone that comes up, not only 400 GWV, that's my hint to look at all these people. As you can see, some of them, I'm going to sort this right quick so it'll make it easier to look at. Some of these are already LC. So you can see these 2 girls are already paid at title, I think. Well, nope, this top one's already paid at title. So look at this one. Let's look at this line. This is someone I'll go through and say, what's wrong here? Why isn't she paid at title? Boom, she doesn't have her PRV. So I write down Sally's name. Sally needs X amount of PRV. And I have a form that tracks all these. I literally go in these reports. I just boom, 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 hit my report. Sally, Nancy, this, you need active frontline, more PRV, you need to recruit so you can get her active, you need this much more GWV. I write all that down. I keep track of it. And then once I write all that down is when I'll go back through afterwards and give them the, hey, just want to let you know you need 1 active frontline. So I do that for each and every person, especially if they're my frontline. This one right here needs her 500. This one right here needs 50 more GWV. And you go so on and so on down the line. This one in particular, she's got 1 active frontline. She just needs, the rest is GWV and PRV. These ones right here that are certified consultants, I would go through and say, hey, did you know if you had a recruit and got them active, you would promote? And so those are the things you have to look for. Imagine if just these people alone, you're talking about these right here, all doubling your GWV, just them alone, and another handful of them doubling their PRV. I mean, that's thousands of GWV on your end when you're trying to get paid a title. This isn't about us. But as you can see, the more we help our team, the more it helps us be successful. So the more successful they are, the more successful we are. So that one's lead paid at title promotion. Also, let me show you right quick, director. I run this on the 15th too. So I pull up a director paid at title. Well, every title I run on the 15th. I pull up director paid at title potential. So I have all my people here. I sort this by GWV. All of my directors come up, or anyone that could promote to director. So if this was the 15th of the month, I would come down here because I have my parameters set at 3,500. Again, I know a friend of mine, her parameters set on her 15th report. She wants to have people at 500 PRV with at least 2 active frontline and at least 5,000 GWV. That's kind of the stigma in the Sensi world, 5,000 by the 15th, you're gonna make it to director. Now me, I have been on the director struggle bus before as a director and in DQ. And so some of my directors even have been on the struggle bus. I have seen people defy odds and completely make it from 3,000 to 10. So I just wanted to broaden my parameters just a little bit. So I don't have any PRV minimums. I don't have any frontline active minimums. All that's required for someone to come up on this report is if they have 3,500 GWV or more. Those are the people I want to see as far as director goes. So you can see all these people are director. I can look at this and say, hey, everyone's director. So all I'd be looking at is paid at title, except this last one right here, that's star consultant. We're closer towards the end of the month, so this girl won't come up on the end of the month report. However, say this was the 15th and she had 3,600 GWV on the 15th, I would reach out to her. 9 people is a stretch, but honestly, the way Sensi's going today, it's not a stretch. So I'm not even gonna say it's a stretch. But look, she's got her active frontline. She's got the criteria that I put in. She's got her PRV, so she's working. So that's someone I'm gonna reach out to and tell little old Nancy here, hey, you're on track to hit director by the end of the month. That's just that one in particular. If you look at the 2 above her, these 2 girls are almost paid at title. So that's why I label these reports paid at title / potential promotion. I think I misnamed this. I meant to put paid at title / promotion potential. However, that's why I named it both, because those are the people it's going to bring up. I need to know who's almost paid at title. You as a leader need to know who's almost paid at title at any point of the month so you guys can get them there. You also need to know who could promote. If you at all times are aware, you're going to go far. And that includes running some reports mid-month and running reports at the end of the month. So let me show you my director end of the month. I think I misnamed that one too. It would be right here, director potential end of month. I forgot to go back and change that one too. Anyway, that's what I mean by director paid at title / promotion potential. We have, this is my end of month. So end of month, I also do all of my, titles from lead all the way through SuperStar director. And I just look to see who needs to get paid at title. So at this point, there's no one that's showing up on director watch, because this same report would tell me if there was anyone at 7,000 GWV or more. So I usually run these by end of month. I run them by the 25th. There's sometimes I am running them on the 20th, 22nd, but I look at them 25th, 26th, 27th. Again, that's personal preference there. Personal preference on GWV. How you set these, it's all personal preference. And it takes, you just gotta mess around with these and figure out what you want for yourself. So I set mine to 7,000 and that's it. That's the only parameter I have on mine. And everybody that has 7,000 GWV or more comes up. And like I said before, that includes people who aren't even director yet. So those are the people, you want those. Those are exciting. Last month when I had 3 and I had 3 people coming up at 7,000 GWV or more and they're SSC consultants, that just made my heart into glitter, because that's exciting. It's exciting when you have someone on director watch. This month we don't, that's okay. We're gonna have some more soon though. As you can see, these 2 girls right here, again, we were looking at earlier, they're not paid at title. So really the only thing I need to address is what can we do? They've got their 500, they've got their active frontline. They're obviously working with both of them having this many active frontline. So what can we do to close this gap and to make things, put, what is it, cherry on top? I usually reach out to these people and say, holy moly, look at you guys' GWV. You're at 73,000, that's almost SSD. You've got your 2 frontline, let's find you 2 more frontline. So that's called coaching people. We don't ever wanna just come to this, any report or any pen and paper, however you do yours. You don't ever wanna come to any part of your reports and just think, oh, they're paid at title, they're good. We have to get them further than what they were. Now this director right here, let me find her without the name being on here. I want to say she is this one right here. So this one right here, she's hit, well, there's several of them actually. All these girls in here have hit several months in a row. So we can't just be happy that they're hitting director numbers. Great, but the leap between 10,000 and 30,000 for SD, that's a huge leap. So I'm already on it with training these girls to get to and be knowledgeable of how they're going to get to star director and superstar director. I want them to go ahead and paint that picture out and start as a director, finding your 4 frontline to get to SSD, and along the way you'll get to SD. Now what that requires though is they need to know if they're so just focused on getting their 10, they're going to fall back. But if they have it in their mind, oh my gosh, I got to get 30,000, then they'll start making those leaps, and that requires us to hold them accountable month to month. So yes, these girls are director. This one right here in particular, 38,000. She hit director, and we began that journey with her. Get to, let's get you as close to 20 as possible. Let's get you as close to 25 as possible. Let's get you as close to 30 as possible. This required me pulling this report every single month, and her leader pulling this report every single month and seeing that she's getting further than what she was several months ago, last month, year over year. Because what we can't do is let these people sit, even if they are getting paid at title. So there's that report. Those reports are run at the end of the month. I'm going to leave this up because I want to explain to you guys what I do for beginning of the month. Because I told you in the beginning, I run beginning, 15th, and end of month. Now, I only obviously over here on the side panel have reports set up for the 15th and end of month. The reason why I don't have a beginning of month per se is because I already have it right in front of me, my end of month reports. So if I'm looking on the 5th is when I run my end of month reports for the previous month. Now, obviously you would have to change this to the previous month, but say this was the previous month. Next month on the 5th, I'll be looking at this exact report if this is how we're to end. And I would look at it and look at these two SSCs on the 5th of July. Right now it's June. If this is how numbers ended, I would look at these two consultants and I would say, hey, you got 9163. That was painfully close. What can we do to make sure you don't end up that short again? So you guys see how I'm using this end of month report for double dipping here. I do the same thing with both of these girls. I do the same thing with the rest of these girls. Hey, you got 80,000 GWV. What can we do to get you promoted? These two girls right here, they're starting to hit the 30,000. What can we do to get you two girls to SD, to build your front, who do we have? And then that's when I teach them about this report. I have them pull it into month report. Let's see who on your end last month ended close to director. Pull that director report. Anyone that ended past 7,000 will come up for them. And they'll be like this girl and that girl. And so what the benefit that I've had with these reports is my life is a whole lot easier. And so as time went by, I caught on to what it was like to lead somebody, but it took so much work. It took so much work. I just couldn't do it all every day. And so I have it on my planner on the 5th is when I run reports, around the 5th. And then by the 15th, I do my 15th reports. And then by the end of the month, I do my end of month reports. So literally I go in, I have a form that I keep, and it's called my monthly leadership form. And let me find a blank one. I have these in the comments of my YouTube video, which I'll share here in a second, but it's my monthly leadership form. So as you guys as I was showing you guys earlier, when I was going through that director report and I had those two SSCs that weren't quite paid a title yet, and I'm doing end of month reports right now because it's end of June, I would write down her name and then I just put needs X amount more GWV. And then I'd write the other SSC needs this. Then of course, I've by then already ran my LC and SuperStar reports also. So then I'll have a long list of people to work with. And again, they vary. Everyone varies. There could be 5 people. You've seen how many people showed up on the lead potential and paid a title. That's a lot of people. And we got to keep track of those people. We got to make sure we're leading those people. And if they're a downline, we got to make sure their leaders are leading. And so I would put, Paula needs 200 more GWV to get paid an LC title. So this is my monthly leadership form. That's what I use it for. It can get exhausting contacting all these people. So sometimes over a day or two, I'll contact some and then I'll wait the next day and do that. But we can't get to that part unless we know how to efficiently identify these people. We have got to identify these people so we can, make our move. Again, you have to remember good leaders react. So I can get to the end of the month and be like, oh, all these people can promote. Cool. Let's reach out to them. Or I can be a great leader and I can anticipate. That's what these reports are for, is all the anticipation. Writing it down, it is a process, but I spend a lot of time doing the leadership things. And it's simple for me. So I go in, I click, write down who I need to work with, click on my star report, who do I need to work with and why. Click on my SuperStar report, who do I need to work with and why. Click on my director report, who do I need to work with and why. And when you have a plan, then you can execute it. And when you guys can do that month to month, you're making an entire shift. So as I told you guys before, I do my paid at title promotion reports. That's to get the 20% of your team that wants to promote, to level up. But you got the other 80%. So you guys got to come up with reports that you want. You can start with the 500 by the 15th. You can start with the active, the almost active. Almost active, by the way, I do run that report again. I run it at the very least by the end of the month, because you'd be amazed at how many people are at 192 PRV, especially with these Disney products and all these LTOs. They put in a $200 order, but they're only at 192. So if you guys know what I mean by, because we get less PRV than what it accounts for on our workstation. And so there's so many people that will come up 150 and be okay with that, though, even if it's not LTO's fault. There are people who will come up, but guess what? If they know you shout that out every month, I can't tell you how many people would get active the same day or by the end of the month. I would literally post that by the end of every month. I'm posting, these people are almost active, let's root them on. It's a humble way to push your team. You're not calling them out, but they need to know that they have 182 PRV. We have got to set a minimum and set the culture of our team that we're not going to put in 182 PRV. You can, because it is your business. But if I'm your leader, just know that I'm at least push you to 200. I'm not trying to push you from 182 to SuperStar director. And so if you have if you take this 80% and all of them are either trying to get 200 a month instead of at 200 every 4, or they're trying to get 200 period, or you're pushing them to get 500 when they normally get 200, that is a massive amount of GWV that we're missing out on, because we're so focused on, if you're a director, you're so focused on building 2 frontline directors. You're missing out on so much. What's going to help you get that 6,000 TWV as an SD is going to require you to work with that 80%. And so the same thing, 10,000 GWV is a lot for a SSD. When you get to SSD, that is a lot. It is a lot for a reason. And it is very well earned when you get there, because if you have been working with that 80% of people, then you won't have to worry about the 10,000 or the 6,000 as a SD. So you need to focus on that. And so create reports where you can do a so. But for me, that's how I work with that 80%, is I make sure to keep track of their PRV, keep track of if they're 500 by the 15th. If they are doing 200 every 4 months, I'm seeing what I can do to get them to 200 every month. If they're doing 200 every month, I'm seeing what I can do to get them to 500. I'm seeing what I can do to get everyone a shooting star, sensational start, promoted in any type of way. It's just up to you to do the work. And that's a lot of work, but again, our compensation and our commission check, we are reimbursed accordingly. And so it takes a long time to set that standard. If you're a new leader and you're starting with reports, it takes a long time to set any kind of culture. But guess what? It starts with you. I can't say that your leaders are going to jump on the bandwagon and be like, yeah, but what I can tell you is my leaders that are using reports and they're thinking in this way, they're seeing success. And it's going to take time for them all to come on board and be as passionate about reports as we are. But there just really isn't anything else in our business at this point in time that's going to teach us otherwise. So if you guys need more of a breakdown on how I use this, and if you want access to my monthly leadership form and access to my performance reports form. So if you guys want to, I created a performance report form. Sorry, it's like folded down. I didn't mean to. If you guys just want to plan it out, because once you set these reports, you can delete them. from your workstation, but it's so much that you don't want to set a report and then go back and set a report. And it's like you're putting it, that should be the final step, is adding it to your workstation. So that's why I created a performance report. Let me turn the page so you guys can see the whole thing. I created a performance report form so you guys can kind of plan it out, print out however many copies you want, and write the name of the report. You need to know why you're running the report. That's important. When to run the report, beginning, fifth, end of month, anytime. Do you want it to be leadership or downline? Do you want to, I have the same reports for downline that I just showed you. But you need to know, I mean, for sure, you got to have leadership because you have to be working with your team. And you also need to have downline so that way you can see things as a whole, as a leader. And then these are just all the parameters I have that you can choose the visible columns or whatnot and set your parameters. That's all up to you. So if you want to search on YouTube, Fefe's 2020 Planner and Systems, down in the comments, there is a link for the monthly leadership form. There's a link for this performance report form. There's also a link that has my full Google Drive if you guys want to see that for any reason. It's all in there. And so it may not, you may want something different. I created this, I'm a form person. I created this form because I wanted something just to help myself. And then I shared it with someone, they're like, oh my God, thank you so much. This helps so much with, again, we're new in the reports world. All of Sensi is new as far as this much in depth with reports. We are new. And so if you guys know anything that I don't, please share it. Please share it. This is not the end all be all. And I wish I understood reports on that caliber earlier, but we're here now. And so we're all learning together, and someone stopped and helped me in reports. I wanted to stop and help you guys in reports. So I'm so glad that I could share what I did, how I did it, why I did it. And I'm looking forward to seeing what the Sensi world does with reports and how this evolves even a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now. I'm so looking forward to seeing how this just benefits everyone's business. Again, we all do it different. We just all decided that we did one thing in common, and that literally was taking people from point A to where they wanted to be and setting goals in between. So many coaching call forums and means of communication, Zoom and Marco Polo and coaching calls and voice messages, all these different leadership things that you can do to get them there. You pick what works for you, but what is not optional is identifying where people are versus getting them to where they need to be, and setting goals to close that gap. That's not optional. If you want to make it in this business and build frontline leaders, we are in a generation where, and we've been in a generation where you have to build people. You're not going to have people just come busting on through the gates and making it to director in 6 months with no training. That still happens somewhere off in a far off fairy tale land, but it's not in Fefe's land. I'm still waiting though. I'll take it. Lord, I'll take it. But anyway, I'm so glad I could share reports with you guys. Thanks for bearing with me, and sorry for the technical difficulty in the middle, but I think we got it. So y'all, good luck and happy reporting.